T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Bring your appetite down the Big Belly Cafe, 140 Gore Street, Webster, Mass. for curbside, takeout, and indoor seating. Visit BigBellyCafe.com to view their hours, menu, and order online. For reservations, please call ahead at 508-949-2433. Follow Big Belly Cafe on Facebook for weekly and daily specials. And remember, all veterans receive a discount for their recognition of service. Big Belly Cafe. Reedy's Archery, located in Middleborough, Mass. at 121 Wood Street, has been a staple in the area since 1993 and has become the one-stop pro shop for competitive target archers and bow hunters from New England. Reedy's is open Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 10 p.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure to visit Reedy'sArchery.com and follow them on Facebook to keep up with upcoming events. Reedy's Archery, dedicated to the archer. Wolf Aviation Network is the only flight school in the area utilizing the Airwolf Simulator AATD and the specialized Part 61 training program designed to save students money while increasing safety and efficiency. Creating safe pilots is our first priority. Our flight sim is the perfect training device. It is designed to prepare students adequately before taking flight in our aircraft. Fly with us and save money. Wolf Aviation. Reserve your spot at 413-563-1929 and visit wolfaviationnetwork.com.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume again.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
Do you have any real-world experience?
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Make no mistake, reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Fubar Studios. I'm your host,
Doug, and I've got another guest here. His name is Jim. He's an Army veteran. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. But thank you, Beavis and Butthead, for bringing us into this new show. Take it away, Jim.
Hey, thanks, Doug. Thanks for having me. I'm Jim. I'm an Army veteran. I was a 31 Bravo military police. I was stationed at Fort Bragg. I was in from 2005 to 2010. Stationed at Fort Bragg most of the time. Did a 15-month deployment to Iraq, where I was initially stationed at Fob Falcon in Baghdad, and then we moved to Yusufia, where I lived with Iraqi police in a cob. And then my last year I spent in Korea, where I partied it up. Had a great time.
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
I know a lot of people a lot of veterans that are going to watch this, that they know quite a bit of where you're stationed in Iraq and Yusufia, and some people may not know what that is. Which,
Oh yeah.
again, we'll break it down a little bit for you so you understand it. It's the triangle, that's they call the triangle of death, that it's in Iraq, that it's three corners where it gets its meat in the middle and everything. But you want to explain, if you want to explain some more regarding about that, Jim.
Yeah, so the triangle death is it's a fitting name, right? So you had Mamadiya, Yusufia, and I forget the third one. But essentially we were just outside of what is it? Help me out, Doug. It's that big one, that where all the stuff really happened.
That's
first.
What is that?
Fallujah.
Fallujah.
Right outside of Fallujah.
I was about to say Mosul, but I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's not it.
So it was just outside of that. When I was in Yusufia, we were attached to 10th Mountain Infantry, and really cool, stupid cool story is my first sergeant there was actually First Sergeant Matthew Eversman. So from the Black Hawk down, he was Staff Sergeant Eversman.
Yep.
And I broke my finger once, and I had to go to a sick call for it, and he had to sign my sick call slip, and I told him I was going to keep it forever.
Yep.
But but yeah, so I mean there was a lot of stuff there, man, like a lot of craziness. I remember we were just outside of the base that was there where 10th Mountain was stationed, and they were under attack one night, and just they were almost overrun. Like it was a crazy situation. And yeah, the constant IED threats, constant incoming, constant kidnappings, unfortunately. I mean, constant is relative, I suppose, but
Now,
more often than.
While you're there, were you pretty much what forward operation base were you pretty much staying at?
So for 9 months of that I was there, I lived with Iraqi police at the Iraqi police station in Yusufia.
Okay.
So my whole platoon lived there, and we rotated out. So you'd have guard duties. So one squad would be on guard duty, one squad would be on like training the IPs, and the other squad would be out doing the patrols of the Mahalas. And it was like every couple of days we'd rotate through.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of a crazy time to be there too. So I was there when they hung Saddam, and got to see all the carnage in the streets and all the nonsense that happened after that, and all the protests, and I was still in Baghdad at that point. So we were stationed at the Dora IP station there, out of Fob Falcon. And it was a really kind of a crazy time to be there. I know it's not like it's out. So I was there from 2006 to 2008. I saw the first snow that Iraq had seen in 80 years when I was supposed to be leaving. And yeah, it was just a crazy time. We really, while I was there in with the 10th Mountain Division, we had 3 soldiers kidnapped. And unfortunately we found them, but they were all deceased. So it was just really a crazy time.
Yeah, no, there was it was the push into Baghdad, and then it was all this others, and uh it definitely picked up around that time period, and then it just progressed, and it's I'm looking up the as we speak, uh uh the actual commander that was out there, that was killed in the desert, out there in the Triangle of Death. But I was trying to look also up of some other stuff on it, but um, really, I know what again the oh, I gotta edit this. Um, the what we're talking about, what we're going to be
Yeah,
talking about, is actually the SGB, which is
yeah,
stellar ganglion blockage, or
yeah.
block.
It's the stellate ganglion block. Yeah,
Yeah, that we're going to be talking about, and this is for the month of
yeah,
September, for Suicide Prevention Month, well, technically
yeah,
Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And with everything going on now, it's this whole SGB is still new. It's still out there.
yeah.
It is FDA approved. Um,
Hmm.
there's like 10 nonprofit organizations that are donating funds for people to get this. It's like 2,800 people that have had it. It's not just for PTSD for veterans. It is for PTSD, anxiety, depression. It's for veterans, from the military, from the police force, firefighters. It's also for uh, individuals that have been that have gone
Yeah,
through sexual trauma,
yeah.
uh, you know,
Childhood trauma.
childhood trauma, stuff like that. And it's I can't it's hands down as what I've read on it, and what your experience, Jim, is with this. It's amazing, and I want
Yeah,
you to be able to talk about it, because you
yeah.
know it firsthand on it.
Yeah, so and I wanted to talk a little bit about my time deployed also, because I think it plays a big role, right?
Yeah,
So PTSD doesn't have to just come from a military deployment or seeing combat. I think about also the doctors and the nurses and all the medics that were out there that maybe didn't see combat, but they were constantly bombarded with the casualties of combat, and what that must have been like. But mine is combat related. So um, I got out in 2010, and even before I got out, when I was in Korea, where I was partying it up, uh, I was hospitalized and told that I had PTSD, and I got put in the Army substance abuse program because I was drinking more than a fish, and way more than I needed to. But I was self-medicating. It was the only way that I knew how to kind of get sleep. I could Otherwise my brain never shut off, and I was in a constant state of anxiety and fight or flight, really.
yeah,
And that's a hard state to live in, right? So I got out, and I got out in 2010, and I was still suffering. I didn't get, I got some support when I was in the military, but
yeah,
what I really remember is my sergeant major at the time. So I was the section chief for the sergeant major and the battalion commander, and I remember my sergeant major coming to visit me in the hospital and telling me what a disappointment I was, and that she was, that I was a disgrace to the uniform because I couldn't just keep my shit together.
yeah.
And that was tough. That was a tough pill to swallow. But then I got out in 2010, and I had been home for a couple months, but I was really battling these demons still drinking a lot, just living a very dangerous kind of lifestyle, doing things that were reckless. And one day it all kind of came to a head, and I tried to kill myself. I put a gun in my mouth and I pulled the trigger, and the fucking gun thankfully didn't go off. Thankfully.
No, absolutely.
But then I was like, well, fuck, I need to go to a VA or something. Like, I need some help. So I went to a VA, and they pushed some pills down my throat, but I didn't have the best experience. My psychiatrist at the time really just told me all about his divorce and how terrible women are and things like that, and didn't really care so much about the PTSD aspect or the symptoms that I was experiencing. And then my therapist, who I had just really started to trust and open up to, told me that she was leaving, and I was like, well, fuck this, I'm just gonna do it on my own again. Which worked for like about 10 years. And then I had a neighbor who set off some fireworks, and it threw me in a tizzy. And for like a month, I was in a state of just mental health crisis. That's the only way to describe it, was crisis. And I was very fortunate. I was working in emergency services at the time, and I was starting a peer support team. And the New Hampshire State Police peer support team was helping me start that peer support team for dispatchers in the state. And so I reached out to the coordinator there, and I was like, who also was a veteran. He was an Army officer and was also a New York City police officer during 9/11. And I reached out to him, and I was like, dude, I'm not in a good place. I really need help. And the next day he was at my house, and, we were exploring options, and I ended up going back to the VA. But I went to the VA in White River Junction. And for anybody who doesn't know, and anybody who's had a really bad experience with a VA system, the White River Junction VA is amazing. And they're one of the leaders actually in the world in mental health treatment, which is really crazy. And I had a great experience at the White River Junction VA. And
I've even had a great experience with them, and it's amazing with how they are.
Yeah, they are really incredible. The doctors, the nurses. So I spent 5 days there, and just the level of compassion and treatment that you get from the people that are helping you there is just absolutely incredible. It really is. And I couldn't speak highly enough of the White River Junction VA. So I went there. They put me on a bunch of medication, and I felt all right for a little bit. And then I just started to spiral again, right? So I was still drinking heavily. I'd have these crazy angry outbursts for no reason. Like I think the lawn would grow too fucking fast, and I'd be in a pissy mood for like 3 days and just yelling at people, and I just constantly felt angry. And, then eventually it came to a point where I was having a baby, I was just married, and I just felt like I couldn't keep fighting these demons, right? Like, I just couldn't do it. Like, I had already failed to kill myself once, though, and like the only thing that I could think of is, how bad do you suck at life when you can't even kill yourself, right? Like that was my thought. And that's not the case, right? Like, I'm very fortunate every day that I was unsuccessful in that. But I started looking for other treatment options. And around here, I heard about this SGB thing, and so I started researching it a little bit. And around our area, it's like $5,000 a side, so you can get either side done, or you can get both sides done. So I was looking at it, and I was like, well, fuck, I could pay for that out of pocket, but it's going to be hard, and like it's a financial drain for sure. So I had put it off, and I was still struggling, and I had decided that if I needed some help because I was going to kill myself again. I had a plan. We have an opioid epidemic. I was going to go get some heroin and started finding what the LD50 of heroin was. I started thinking about how I would do it, where I would do it, so that I wouldn't be found. And then I got a random email in my email inbox one day from the University of Ohio's Strive program. Now, Strive helps first responders and veterans in with PTSD, suicidality, all kinds of stuff. They're an amazing program, and it was for a clinical trial for the SGB, and I had already kind of known about the SGB. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sign up, and what's the worst that happens? It doesn't work, and I'm in the same place. Like, either way, something's got to give. Something has to give. I can't keep doing this.
No,
And
absolutely. I totally
yeah,
agree. This is big. I want to, and before we continue, I want to say thank you for definitely sharing this.
oh yeah, no, I feel an obligation to do it, right? Like, they gave me this treatment for free, and it's worked miracles in my life, truly. And so, I want to give back to my brothers and sisters, because it's I've lost some friends, some fellow veterans that I served with, to suicide. And if I can help somebody out there who's struggling and battling the same way that I was, or even in a different way that I am, or they don't think that their PTSD is that bad right now, but maybe it does. At least it's in the back of their mind, or they say, I don't want it to get that bad, and they look into this also.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to that, and I don't want to see any more veterans kill themselves, and I want people to know that there is hope.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I mean, again, there's so much room for this, and that's 22 a day and all this. There's so much room that that we need to get this down to 0 a day, and
yeah, and there's an organization who did an independent study on it, who actually believes that the numbers double, uh, double the 22 a day, probably closer to 42 to 44 a day. So it's just crazy, and really, before I even continue, I just want to say to anybody who's listening that there is hope, that tomorrow can be a brighter day, and that there's always somebody. So reach out and speak to them. And if you're feeling that way, talk to people and let them know, and let people help you, because
Yep.
I can't tell you how grateful I am to not be dead right now.
Yep. No, I totally agree with that, and you know, everybody that's watching this, all the viewers, I mean, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. Jim's here. We're all here for you. We're all, here to be together and to help one another.
Yeah.
Again, you know, with everything, there's someone that does care. We may not know who you are, it doesn't matter, but we care. It's just the bottom line is that nobody should feel the way they do and not have someone that they can lean on to talk to.
And just real quick, also, Doug, I just want to put this out there. If you are feeling that way and you don't want to talk to somebody who uh, I would strongly urge you to dial 988 and press 1 for veterans, and just talk to somebody, and do it for yourself, but do it for everybody around you who really does love and care about you, because they do, even on your worst days when it doesn't feel like you're capable of love or that you deserve love. You do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, your family's going to miss you, and, it's going to cause more and more, more people to be down and not want to talk, but, definitely reach out and, step away from whatever you're thinking about and just pick up the phone and dial 988 and hit option 1, because, it's just, we want you to really step back and just think about it and talk to somebody, because, it's just, it does help, and, alleviate some, some things that you're thinking at the point, and get you to really thinking that, what, tomorrow could be better. Tomorrow, will be better than what today is,
Yeah.
and
You know,
it's important.
yeah, and I talked to my wife pretty openly about all this when I was going through it, and I'm so grateful for her also, because she put up with me when I was at my worst, and but also she was there to listen and there to give support. So I can tell you that you can always get through tomorrow. You can always get through today, and there's a ton of people who want to see you do that. And Doug said your family will miss you, but if you're a veteran and you served, you're part of my family, and I'll miss you.
Absolutely. I can't agree enough with you on that. That's definitely it is, because again, it doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. If my DNA matches your DNA, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You're still my brother. You're still my sister. You're my
Yeah.
brother and sister in arms, and you will always be considered family.
Absolutely. We all put the uniform on and we all wore the flag, and we all fought for this country, whether you were deployed or not. You fought for this country. The day you signed up, you were fighting for the freedoms of this country. So
because we all signed that check, that including our lives, and we all took that oath, and that's what banded us at that point.
Absolutely. We are the band of brothers and sisters. So truly, if you need somebody to talk to, I know Doug said he's here, I'm here, but there's a million people out there that don't want to see you lose your life. And I can tell you that with certainty. And please reach out, and 988 dial 1, get the help that you need, because it will help you. And I'm hoping that when I finish this, that you saved my life, and hopefully it'll help somebody else too.
Yeah. Oh, and then we lost you a little bit there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But no, we got some of it, and then there was some that broke up, but it's okay. It's life.
Yeah.
It's
life.
It
is. It's craziness.
It's exactly what we're pointing as stuff happens, and then
exactly.
Exactly. But with this whole SGB, it's I know by the time the end of this episode, people are going to want to know about it. I'm going to tell you, look it up. It's called the SGB shot. It's
stellate ganglion block. And I'll tell you, if you go to the Stellate Institute website, they have an FAQ, and it's amazing. Just real quick, I can give you a quick rundown on the procedure, though. And I saw Dr. James Lynch out of the Stellate Institute, so I am biased by far, and I will openly admit my bias. But he really made me feel comfortable. He's a retired Army colonel. He spent 31 years in the military. And he actually, him and his partner now, developed this treatment and pioneered this treatment with U.S. Special Forces, doing it with the Navy SEALs and Special Forces, Delta Force, the PJs, things like that, and saw an incredible thing start to happen where soldiers were able to have those constant deployments, and not have the issues coming back home. But so when I saw Dr. Lynch, this is like a 15-minute procedure, and I was in his office a little over an hour. And it's going to sound real scary for some people, but I promise you it's not. It doesn't really hurt. So they numb up, and I only had one side done, right? But they numb up your neck, and they take an ultrasound to your neck, and they find your sympathetic nervous system, the trunk of the sympathetic nervous system in your neck, and then they put the block into your neck as it's ultrasound guided, and literally within 5 minutes, all my symptoms were pretty much gone. And I had felt like I haven't felt in 20 years, and I felt like I felt before I even joined the Army. And it was literally that quick, 5-10 minutes, I was a different person.
Yeah, because I mean, it's one of those things that as you're explaining, it's that reset button that
Yeah, it shuts it down and restarts it and allows you to really help process things. And I will say, so this isn't like a one size fixes all, right? Like you do have to then commit to really buckling down with a therapist and working through all the issues. I've done a couple sessions of EMDR, and really took this treatment for what it was, and I've made the most of it, and I don't feel like I did then. I feel
yeah,
incredible now.
no, absolutely, and that's what I've that's what I that's what I've actually read onto the site through Stella in Cincinnati. It's um, that's what a lot of people have said um, that it does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's saved my life. It's saved my marriage. It's saved my family. It's helped me be a better dad, husband, employee. It's all
nope,
that I was in.
you froze again.
Oh, so my life.
Yep, you
So
did.
whether it was I'm froze again.
Yeah, you froze up again. This time
Oh
you were
man,
like,
I don't know what's happening. Oh, that's a pretty face.
oh, it was like, oh, everybody's gonna want to give that face a kiss right there.
All right, so let's try this one more time. So the SGB has completely changed my life in every aspect, whether it's being a dad, a husband, an employee, you know, even myself. I don't think so poorly of myself. I don't, one of my big struggles with PTSD obviously was the anger and the drinking and everything else, but feeling like I didn't deserve to be loved and that I wasn't putting any good back into the world,
Yeah,
and I don't think negatively like that about myself anymore, and it's just really incredible that this thing that isn't offered by insurance, it's not really offered by the VA, and you really kind of have to, it's not really hoops that you have to jump through, but there's a little bit more to it, could
yeah,
be out there saving lives.
yeah.
And they're still doing it in the military for special forces, so I would encourage people to also, if you've had this or somebody who's had this, reach out to the policymakers of this country and fight so that this can be available to every veteran.
No, absolutely, again, if any of the viewers is definitely start writing the letters out to the congressmen, like congresswomen and senators and all that, and just put it into them, because we need to keep knocking on this door to get it going. And again, the way
Yeah.
it's going to get going is with everybody sending that out, reaching out to them, and flooding the chain of command to them to start pushing it through. And you know because as veterans, to be able to help with it, it's going to be what's going to be beneficial. And the VA should be reevaluating this, because if it's a proven proven healthcare I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say.
Treatment.
Treatment.
Treatment. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, of course.
they should be paying for it, and
Yeah.
should not be turning away any veteran at it, because you know it's just something that is helping, and they shouldn't turn anything down that is helping veterans. They should be
Yeah, and
for it.
absolutely. And I think so. I think an important note to this too is, like, I'm still on my medication that the VA prescribed me, right? But it's actually working now.
Yeah,
So at one point, my anxiety was to the point where they gave me the max amount of Xanax that you can get, and
yeah,
I would take that, and it wouldn't even put a dent in my symptoms or how I was feeling in that moment. It didn't calm me down. I just maintained the same level, sometimes even got worse, you know, and they would tell me there's no way that that's actually true. Well, that's what's happening. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but you can't tell me what's happening with my own body in those moments. I know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, they've got to understand that, you know, they're not going to know if it works or doesn't work on a veteran unless they see it. And if the military is still pretty much allowing special forces and Delta Force and all that to use this, and they see that there's a difference, why isn't the military saying, hold up, wait, we need to use this for our veterans? Because we can already see it with our active duty members. Why aren't we using it for our veterans?
Exactly. And you know, I know that special forces, they're a special breed, right? And I don't know that I would have ever had what it took to be in the special forces, not just physically, but the fact that you're out there kicking in doors all the time. You know, in the limited experience that I had of that was not great. It was, you know, it's hard. But if we're doing it, if it's working for those guys at that level, then, you know, I think it's almost 80% effective across the board for PTSD. The SGB is, which is crazy. And I know things aren't going to work for everybody, but 80% is a really effective number.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and really, so I did another podcast on this, and Dr. Lynch was on it, and he cites some even higher numbers when you start talking about getting both sides done. You know, they have they call it the right-sided failures, right? So 20% of people who only get the one right side of their neck done don't have any effect, but then when they get the other side done, they do have an effect. So it's pretty effective, and for me, it's completely changed my life. And you know, just a quick story. The other podcast that we did with when I was working at the state Veterans of Military and Veterans Affairs here in New Hampshire, and Dr. Lynch reached out to me, and he said that a veteran in Texas saw the video that we did and decided to give it a shot. And that veteran wanted to reach out to me and let me know that I saved his life. And that, to me, 100% every day is worth sharing my experience. Am I comfortable doing it? No. Do I like telling people that I wanted to kill myself? No. But if it can help one person, it's completely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's if it helps you, it's going to help someone else, and, you know, just keep spreading the awareness on it and the treatment, and it's going to keep saving more lives. And, you know, you may not know that it has, but it's
and that's okay.
No, absolutely. And then it's just going to be perfect. You know, again, it's going to drop numbers down, and it's just going to keep dropping it down, because one life is one too many. And
absolutely,
you know, we need to definitely bring this up and keep talking about it. And with this month being suicide awareness a month, then we got to keep talking about it and spreading the whole information on it. And if people don't know, as well as we do have here with Fubar Studios, we do have a thing going on right now, which we're going to carry on to next year. That it's a day at the track with a veteran, which we have 4 more races to go. But we will be bringing it back again next year with Derek Roby and DDR Motorsports. And we're going to be doing more things next year with this whole stuff. And, you know, we want to be able to put the word out with this as, you know, it doesn't matter what war you were in. It just means that you just got to be a veteran. or you got to be a Gold Star family member. That's either a mom, dad, brother, sister. We want to be able to get you on the track and having given the experience, and it's just getting you out and talking, and that's what it's about. With getting veterans out and about and talking, and getting you out to something that you might not have done before, or you're looking forward to doing something like this. So with that being said, Jim, I really appreciate it again for you coming out and talking about the SGB.
Absolutely.
It was a stellate ganglion.
Stellate ganglion block.
There we go.
I gotcha, buddy.
I can tell you the abbreviation to it. I just had that I can get stellate.
Oh man, it's a
block.
tongue twister. I know.
Oh, it is, absolutely. But no, again, we appreciate you coming out and talking about it. And, from one veteran to another, thank you for your service. And
Same, thank you for yours.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we're going to have you on and talk some more. And
yeah,
we've got more stuff in the future that we'll talk about once it gets released.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and just real quick before we go, Doug, I just want to tell everybody again that number to the Veteran Crisis Line 988-1, and also the Stellate Institute out of Maryland. If you want some more clinical research on it, they have Dakota Myers, who's a Medal of Honor winner, some videos and a bunch of reviews. And I really you don't have to just take my word for it. You can go look it up yourself, but it's really incredible what this doctor is doing for the veteran community and giving back still.
Which I'm actually going to have all the links on the video. I'm going to have all the links down below. It's going to be to the video that you had with the podcast. It's going to have the links to the SGB website. It's going to have all that. That's even and also it's going to have the phone number for 988. And it's going to say option 1 for veterans. It's also going to have the link so you can also click if you want to just do a chat with them, and you don't have to call them. You can just chat with them. All that will be on the links down below. It's stuff that we want to be able to put out there and get it out there. And
thank you.
No, you're welcome. You're very welcome. And we got to be able to circulate this information one way or another. And what better way to do it than veterans talking about it on a podcast and promoting it out of it. That's basically it.
That's it, man. And that's the best way, word of mouth. This is a grassroots campaign for sure, but one that can really help. And again, contact your policymakers, both state and federal levels. And if you know somebody who's had this, and just tell them that we need to offer this to more veterans, and we need to do it now, because 22 a day is not acceptable.
Yep, absolutely. And it's down. We need to be down at 0. That's what we need.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
With that being said, Beavis and Butthead, take it away for us, and we'll catch you next time. All right, everybody. Have a good day.
Shut up! Shut up!
Yeah. Shut up!
You suck!
Stop, in the name of all that which does not suck.
Thanks for watching FUBAR Studios Veteran Reinforcement. Please make sure to check out the FUBAR Studios on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and visit the website at FUBARstudio.com. FUBAR Studios is a Sinister One production.